Hello, I'm Mike. I'd like to talk to you about T577, which is a modified dispersion acrylic on a tissue. So tissue tapes are our general purpose tapes because the tissue is very thin and it really just serves to reinforce the adhesive. So in effect you've got really a thick layer of adhesive which has still got a lot of the flexibility, conformability that you get in a film of adhesive, but it's much more handleable than something like a transfer tape which sort of comes off in your fingers. So this is a much cleaner alternative. And so the tissue tapes are quite flexible, nice thick layer of adhesive, and they got the advantage over some of the filmic tapes that, particularly if you're using it by hand, they can be torn. You don't need sort of knives and scissors and things. Now this is a modified dispersion acrylic adhesive. I just wanted to explain what that means, because most of the other products in our range are solvent based, so they're modified solvent acrylics. This is a dispersion. These are two parallel technologies. And it's interesting, when I sort of first started in this industry, dispersion acrylics, at least for, in the tape world, were really quite rare. And nowadays they're pretty commonplace. They've become really sort of a major part. So as a parallel range of products, you can get both pure acrylics and modified acrylics in both dispersion and solvent. The difference really is in the way that the acrylic is produced. The modified bit is similar for both the products. So by modified acrylics, it's had resin added to it, which increases the tack and gives better adhesion, and particularly better adhesion to lower surface energy materials. But the acrylic, on the one hand, the solvent acrylics are made and coated from an organic solvent. The dispersion ones are made and coated from a water-based solution, not a solution, a water-based emulsion or dispersion, and the terms are interchangeable. But otherwise they're sort of comparable. But there are a couple of disadvantages with the dispersion acrylics. One of them is that in order to keep the products during manufacture in this emulsion or dispersion, you have to add a small amount of surfactant, which in effect is a soap, to the product, which stays in the material. So they're slightly contaminated by a level of soap, and you don't get quite the performance that you do on the solvent products. The other thing is that you can't, or at least you can't effectively, cross-link dispersion acrylics. So you can't reach the very high cohesion and the very high shear strength, temperature resistance and even solvent resistance that you can with the solvent acrylics. Now that's not to say that these products are poor in shear or have to be poor in shear. You can get a lot of cohesion just by having very high molecular weights, but you can't get the very high shear that you get from the cross-linked solvent. So I want to say straight off that technically these products are not quite as good, but having said that, there are an awful lot of applications where you don't need the ultimate shear strength or the ultimate temperature resistance, and these products are more than adequate. This product, the T577, will go up to about 120 degrees C, so we're not talking about a low temperature performance product. The particular advantages, though, of the dispersion acrylic, and there are a couple of specific advantages. Being a softer adhesive, you've automatically got higher tack, and by the time you add resins, modify it, you can have some very high tack products which will bond exceptionally well to some of the more difficult materials. And the other thing, which is perhaps the key feature, the dispersion acrylics are significantly cheaper than the solvent acrylics. And nowadays, it's rare for us to be able to sort of recommend products purely on having the ultimate technical performance. We have to have a commercial interest as well. And these products obviously fit that bill. And the other thing that the lower cost of adhesive means is that we can put more on it. So if we look at T577 and compare it to our mainstay tissue product, T555, our benchmark product, which is the solvent acrylic, the T555 is 0.13 millimeters thick, the T577 is 0.16 millimeter thick, and in terms of actual adhesive, you got 25% more adhesive on this product, still at a substantially lower price. And it's the combination of the higher coat weight with this sort of very high tack adhesive. I mean, this product is noticeably very, very sort of tacky. So it bonds particularly well to low energy materials. I mean, you can sort of get a sense of the tack of the product. It's really sort of higher than any of our solvent-based products, partly because of the coat weight and partly because of the nature of the adhesive. So T577 is an exceptionally good product for sticking to rougher surfaces. So it's great on a lot of rubbers, foam plastics, felts, non-woven materials, some woven materials, and very good on lower energy materials. So those are the specific advantages. It's not for the highest specification, but it's a great versatile product for all sorts of really quite difficult applications. If you'd like a sample of T577, use one of the links on this page, give us a phone call or use the live chat. We can organise a sample, prices and any other information that you need.